testers, this is Duke back again with another performance review. This time a shoe I've really looked forward to since I saw the tech specs on it and the initial images. It's the Jordan Super.Fly 4. Got these about 3 weeks ago from my people over at Taylor Brand. I've really put a lot of time into this shoe, but I had a week of vacation in there, so it's taken me so long. And on that vacation I broke a couple toes swimming with sharks. Long story, needless to say, I survived, feet are intact, shark didn't eat my toes, so we're good to go. But I've put about 5 or 6 good nights worth of play in these things. Wednesday night I put 11 games of full court on them, so I've got a really good idea of the performance on these things and how I think each one of you is going to enjoy them. So not much else to be said, let's get into it. So as we do, we've got materials first. The upper is made up of this mesh, just like the CP38AE. It's kind of like the first generation of Hyperfuse, but it's not near as stiff. You can see the shoe bends in all directions. It's very, very flexible, which is a great change from the Super.Fly 3 last year that even after almost a year of me having it and letting some people borrow it to play in, it's still not this broken in. So straight out of the box, the materials are a definite upgrade. Do have a little bit of fuse here around the eye lace holes, because if you didn't, Jordan wouldn't be able to keep up the returns. These laces would rip right through that fuse. So good touch on that. Plus it's in a spot where there's not much impact on the feel and fit of the shoe, so it doesn't bother the flexibility at all. You do see these colored mesh parts right here. These are where the foam backing is, and that just gives you a little more structure and a little more comfort inside that shoe. You can see the back. I really like this touch. I really do. It's like the Pro Combat. That's what I was thinking of. The Pro Combat from the LeBron tongue from the 10, I believe. Maybe it was the 9. I can't remember. But it's got this little touch here on the Achilles. It gives a little bit of stretch, so you're not completely restricted by a little bit of a higher cut on the shoe. But still, it's sturdy enough and it's stable enough that it holds you in. You can see the heel cup here, external heel counter. Traction, the flight speed plate, we'll get into that in a little bit on the cushioning and the stability. Really soft rubber on the outsole, we'll get into that on the traction, but overall just a really nice constructed shoe. I really dig the materials on these things. So good upgrade, definite upgrade there from last year. Alright, next up we'll hit the fit. Fit is true to size, definitely true to size. I wear 10.5 in everything. I went over this before. 10.5 in these feels great, fits perfect. Got about a not quite a thumb's width right here from the end of my big toe to the end of the shoe, which gives me just enough room. And you know, those long days your feet start growing and expanding as you're playing and swell a little bit, you're not going to bump the end of that shoe, which this past week I found it was very important with the 2 broke toes. There was a shoe I'm reviewing that fits a little bit small, and on some jab steps, stutter steps a little bit, that toe hits the end of that shoe. It's pain like no other. So anyway, going to the fit, 4 foot, you can see it's cut a little bit narrow in this shot. Extreme wide footers, you definitely want to look at going up a little bit. Normal foot like mine, it's perfect. If you've got just a little bit of a wide foot, I might suggest trying them on if you can find them in store before you order them. Otherwise, stay true to size, maybe half size up to you. Midfoot fit locks in perfect. You got these little fit straps right here, and I didn't really think this one loop would do that much, but it really does. It brings the shoe together and really pulls that midfoot in. The ankle and heel fit, it wraps perfectly. This foam wraps around your heel and your ankle, locks you in. Lacing system is up high, cuts out any heel slip. Again, this Pro Combat like material in the back grips that Achilles, grips your heel. You got no heel slip whatsoever. Alright, normally I'll go into cushioning right after fit, but this time I'm going to save cushioning for last because I really want to get into it pretty deep. So now we'll go into stability. Stability in the shoe is not as strong as last year just because of the difference in the material. This foam has a little bit, and this fuse has a little more give than what the stiff materials on the upper last year did. However, I like it better because it allows the foot to move a little bit better. It doesn't feel as restrictive, so there's your trade-off. If you want it really stiff to where you are absolutely locked in and stable, get last year. If you want it a little more give, a little more feel, get this year. One thing I will note this year is the 4 foot again is cut a little bit more narrow, especially on the bottom. There's no outrigger here on the 4 foot. You can see the shoe almost comes all the way over the outsole, and it gives, for lack of a better word, it gives a shoe a tippy feeling. And what I mean by that is, I do this, and I know Schwolo, another reviewer, does this. I really enjoy his reviews. If you haven't checked him out, check him out. But you put the shoe on in your house whenever you first get it, or in the store when you're trying it on, and you basically just stand still and roll your foot over to the outside. And what this does is it gives you your tipping point of the shoe. A shoe like the Crazy 8 from Adidas, let's see, the Kobe 8 from Nike has a very, very low tipping point, which means you can roll it almost to the floor before you get that past point of no return in your ankle roll. This shoe, it feels at first when you try it on like it should roll over very easily just because it's kind of narrow. But playing in it, it never rolled over. I don't know if that's because of the flight speed plate. It's the new iteration on the flight plate system that they had in the 28-29, or I don't know if it's just the structure of the shoe, how it sits lower than what the Super.Fly 3 did and the Jordan 28-29 did. I'm not for sure, but I will say don't go by just feel when you try this thing on as far as stability, because it does come through and feel really, really good on court and really stable when you're playing in it. Now your midfoot stability again goes back to the flight plate, which instead of in the past, the flight speed plate. The flight plate was just in the forefoot over the unlocked zoom. This plate runs the full length of the shoe. That's kind of like a torsion plate that you'd find in Adidas, or just a carbon fiber that you'd find in the Jordan 11s, and it just gives a little more spring, a little more torsional rigidity in the foot. It's not absolutely stiff where it feels like a boot, but it does do its job as far as keeping your arches up, because you can see that split in the shoe right there. It's not a flat sole. If this plate wasn't in here, your foot would bottom out, tear your plantar fasciitis, and then you're dealing with that injury for months. The heel stability, this cup, it's not really very solid, but it's enough there to keep you locked in and to keep you stable on your heel. The rest of the stability, it comes from the lacing system, and it really just the lock in and the fit of the shoe and the materials does keep your foot upright, and you really don't have to worry about anything unless you just step on somebody's foot, and after that you're done anyway. Alright, so we'll kick off that stability and head into the traction. I told y'all I'm doing cushioning last, so just bear with me. Traction is, as you can see, the treads are not real deep. I haven't played with these outdoors much, just a little bit, doing some shooting drills, just some final touch-ups on the review. The rubber is very pliable in here, and it's very sticky on clean floors. It's very sticky on unclean floors. I played on 2 different 24-hour courts, 2 different church courts, and my outdoor court here. I slid nowhere. It's not as biting as the 28, but it is a little bit better than like the Curry 1. It's probably on par with the Rose 5. Rose 5 was pretty good in my book. It's on par with that. As you can see, I don't think it's going to last very long outdoors. Looks like it's going to peel off, kind of like the Crazy Light Boost did if you played with it much out here. But as long as you're on clean courts, I mean a wipe or two and you're good to go. The grooves do look, they appear to be set really, really close, but one thing that helps is this wave pattern on the toes here, and then having the zoom separated. It allows the outsole to really kind of flex and dig in when you're running. And I do like this split here in the heel. It's very similar kind of to what we saw with the, which Jordan was at the 2010, I believe, maybe the 09, that had the split heel with the blades in the heel. It doesn't deflect quite to that level, but it does allow your heel, if you land on the inside, to kind of roll into the outside into the next step. There is a little bit of a wave pattern here on the heel too, but overall traction, if I got to rank it out of 10, I'd say 8.5, 9, and that's just because of the durability of the materials. The performance of it, on par with anything out there today. Okay, and last but not least, we come to the cushioning. I didn't really know what to call this zoom unit other than unlocked before I got the box and had the tech card, the spec card in it, and they're calling it a J zoom unit. I assume because of the shape of it. I'm not for sure what the J signifies, but as you can see, it goes back to kind of the unlocked template, but it doesn't stick out from the outsole hardly at all, which does take away a little bit of the springiness that you found in the 28 and the Mellow 10 and the Super.Fly 2. And we saw them start doing this last year with the Jordan 29 and the Super.Fly 3 and that Mellow, and they've recessed it a little bit. It should cut down on the durability issues you had on the 28 with the popping, and but it does also take away the springiness and the bounce, that's that initial feel that you get. It is rather large. I mean, you can see it covers all the way this area. So instead of just being here and segregated one time, it does come back under the pinky toe into the middle of the foot. Be honest, I couldn't really feel this area while I was playing. I could feel more of this area, and it wasn't the bounce of the zoom I could feel. It was the dead of the foam under my toes that I could feel more to tell the difference between the zoom and the foam. Not to say that's a bad situation, but it's just, it doesn't have the springiness that you expect from an unlocked zoom. However, it is very smooth in transition. It's very stable. The bounce, I know some in the 28, it was a little too springy, a little unstable feeling. You don't have that in these. There's a foam carrier that's set above it. This is a bottom-loaded zoom unit. So you don't feel so much of the bounce from the zoom as you do the foam and the compression. So when you compress into that zoom, it bounces right back, which it's personal preference. If you want the spring and the response and the bounce of the 28, this is not what you want. If you like the 29 and the Super.Fly 3 and the way they felt, this is just an evolution of that system. Now the heel cushioning again is just foam. It's the setup we've seen since the Super.Fly 2. And like the Super.Fly 2, Super.Fly 3, the Jordan 29, I didn't feel this was any kind of detrimental technology into the performance. The way they've carved out the heel, again, it deflects perfectly when you land. Whether you land on the outside, it rolls you back in, inside it rolls you back out, it keeps you stable. I've worn these, like I say, at least 25 games. I've noticed no kind of permanent compression in the cushion. They still feel the same now as they did when I got them. It is, like I say, it is heel. Some people have a problem with that. They think they're going to land and it's going to jar up their back and it's going to tear their knees up. People play on foam for years. It's not like it's something that is an old 1800s technology and you're playing on wood blocks. Okay, it's foam, it's Phylon, it's going to compress, it's going to bounce back. It's just not going to last as long as maybe an airbag would. But as far as performance, I mean, it gives you exactly what air does, especially the air that they're putting in these shoes nowadays. It's not like they're getting a max air bubble compared to the foam. It is what it is, and it feels perfect. Now I will say, once you put these on to start with, I was very unimpressed with the feel of the forefoot going back to the zoom unit. It does take about 2 or 3 wears for this foam in the forefoot to break down in that carrier and for you to start getting the response out of the zoom that you expect. So just because you put them on, they may feel dead the first couple of times. Stick with them, they break in, and they feel great. Wrapping up the review of the Jordan Brand Super.Fly 4, thanks again to the people at Taylor Marketing and to Jordan Brand for sending these over. Is it a great shoe? I wouldn't call it great. I would call it very, very good. It's the definition of the sum being greater than the parts. Cushioning's there, traction's there, fit, materials. The design is pretty cool. I really like the colors. I think the green really makes it pop. This Marvin the Martian colorway is really, really pretty cool. It's one of those shoes you put on and you don't have to worry about. You know you're going to get good traction, you're going to get cushioning. It may not be the best, the bounciest, but it's going to get the job done. And that's really what this shoe is about, is getting the job done. It makes me excited because this is the second shoe in a row for a performance review that last year's shoe, I'll say it basically sucked. And this year the improvements made on it puts them in another level. The Crazy Light Boost I did just a couple of weeks ago, they took the design and just completely redeveloped. This compared to last year's Super.Fly 3 is a completely different shoe. They could rename it, they don't even have to rename it Super.Fly. It's that much of a difference from what you get. If you like the Super.Fly 3 PO, check these out. If you didn't like the Super.Fly 3 itself, the regular model, check these out because they're completely different, like I said. It gives me high hopes for what Jordan's going to do with the Air Jordan 30. Just hope it's sooner rather than later, what they're going to come with. So these are priced at $150. I know there's only 3 or 4 colorways out right now, and I can't imagine we're not going to get a red and white, a blue and white, something for the Clipper colorways. The camo print looks really, really cool on a lot of it. But anyway, if you're looking for a shoe, it's a bang for your buck model. 150 may be a little high, but with what you get, be assured that it's going to be a good performer. Next up, I got the Ectio Alexio. I know it's been out for a while. Nightwing reviewed them almost a year ago, but Ectio is making a push with the school year starting and season starting up to try to get that shoe back out. After that, I should have a pair of brand black Vectors in my hand. We can put those on the court and see how they go. Other than that, we'll see what comes up. Until then, wear testers. Out.